This is the last Shabbat of the year. We are very, very honored to have saved the best for last with an extraordinary scholar in residence, Rabbi Dr. Elyse Goldstein. She is well known to many of us, and I'm so grateful that she agreed to be here this weekend. As the first and only woman to serve as a rabbi in Canada when she was ordained in 1983, she was the one who shattered the stained glass ceiling and paved the way for future generations. From her role as assistant rabbi at Holy Blossom Temple to founding City Shul in downtown Toronto, Rabbi Goldstein has consistently demonstrated her resilience, her leadership, and a commitment to social justice. In addition to her congregational work, Rabbi Goldstein founded Kollel, the Adult Center for Liberal Jewish Learning, which earned her the prestigious Covenant Award in 2005 for her contributions to Jewish education. She became the first woman to be elected president of the Toronto Board of Rabbis, and her feminist scholarship and activism are further evidenced through her award-winning books, including Revisions, Seeing Torah Through a Feminist Lens, and the Women's Torah Commentary. Her journey is not just one of personal achievement, but also of breaking barriers in a male-dominated field, all by balancing a rich family life and now pursuing new passions in retirement. Welcome to Beth Tikvah. Welcome to your husband, Baruch. We're so happy you're with us, not just this morning, but also tonight for the priestly Chot lecture. So our attention, please, to a really extraordinary leader in our community, Rabbi Dr. Elyse Goldstein.
Shabbat Shalom. And thank you for that wonderful introduction that otherwise sounds like something my mother wrote for you. So I appreciate that. Do you know what it means when a rabbi looks at their watch before giving their sermon? Absolutely nothing. I am so... You can use that one again. I am so delighted to be here this morning and again this evening for so many reasons. I'm honored to be your speaker on such an important and auspicious time of year. I'm also so grateful to be retired so that I can let other rabbis do the work and I can sit in the pew of other synagogues as a Jew in the pew. And what an amazing experience to be here this morning with your fabulous ED Rivka, who was the former administrator of my shul, of City Shul, and with Nadia, who is the former director of Jewish education at my shul, City Shul, and looking at the playground, which was my invention at City Shul. So I'm thinking I should really just apply to be assistant rabbi here, because she got the best of City Shul already. I am moved beyond words to actually have had an aliyah this morning at the Torah, to be on this bima with my talit. And there are so many reasons why. I'm going to tell you some of those really important stories this evening in the context of asking the question about communal change, which I've seen in the 41 years of my rabbinate here in Toronto. But I think I have to start at the very beginning of my journey so you'll understand why my perspective, especially my perspective tonight about the change in the Jewish community, is so precious to me. So I have to take you to April 6th, 1968, Parshat Tzav. I'm 13 years old. It's the day of my bat mitzvah, Temple Isaiah of Forest Hills, New York. Any New Yorkers? Former, I should say. Now, all the girls in my Hebrew school at Temple Isaiah had been given a choice between a bat mitzvah and a sweet 16. And I was the only idiot to choose 3 extra years of Hebrew school instead of a party with hats and paper streamers. So here I am, I'm standing on the pulpit. It's the big day, my family is in the front row. I'm standing at the rabbi's podium, and my teacher, who was the cantor, is standing at the other podium. The sun shines through, very much like today, the stained glass windows, and I'm about to read the Torah. I feel a sense of this is exactly where I'm meant to be and what I am meant to be doing in my life. So I push aside the speech, which the rabbi has written for all the Bar and Bat Mitzvah kids, which begins each speech with, "I want to thank the rabbi." And I begin to speak extemporaneously. And I say the following: ladies and gentlemen, today is not the end of my Jewish journey, it is just the beginning. I'd like everyone here to know that I intend to become a rabbi. Now, please remember, this is 1968. There are no female rabbis. I have never seen a woman with any religious authority whatsoever. Even in my Reform synagogue, I have never seen a woman ascend the bima, except to pour the grape juice at the end of the service to give to the kids for the final benediction. I feel the rabbi come up behind me. He pushes me away. He grabs the microphone and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, what she means is that she wants to marry a rabbi and be the rabbi's wife, the Rebbitzin." So now I'm mad. I'm mad. So I push the rabbi aside. I grab the microphone and I say, "Ladies and gentlemen, no, 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 no. I mean, I'm going to be the rabbi and my husband can be the Rebbitzin." And in fact, he has been, or we call him the Rebbitzer. He has been for an amazing 39 years. So my mother in the front row starts bawling her eyes out. Truly, my mother should have been a rabbi had she been born later, and she was my biggest inspiration. My father looks like he's going to come up and strangle the rabbi. And the cantor, my teacher and my substitute grandfather, my grandfather had died earlier, clears his throat and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue the service on page 177. Now, that experience is the beginning of my lifetime of trying to explain and justify and figure out what it means to lead, not in spite of my gender, but because of it. So that is my personal story that leads me to everything else I do, both on the bima and as a teacher. I want to take that story and put it on the parsha, because the parsha is about comings and goings. But I'll start with a different story, and it's not a personal one. After shul one day, little Yitzchak tells his parents that he must go and talk to the rabbi immediately. They agree. The rabbi greets the family. Rabbi, Yitzchak says, "I heard you say today that our bodies come from the dust." "That's right, Yitzchak, I did. And I heard you say that when we die, our bodies also go to the dust. "Yes, I did say that. Yitzchak, I'm glad you were listening. Why do you ask?" Yitzchak says, "Well, Rabbi, you better come home to my house right away and look under my bed, because someone's coming or going." Now, with all the preparations for the high holidays, whoever does most of the cooking, cleaning, baking, and planning in your house feels like they don't know if they are coming or going. Tonight at Slichot, we are meant to focus in on exactly that. From where have we come, and to where are we going? And that's today's double portion in Nitzavim Vayelech, because it's so fabulous. Nitzavim means standing, and Vayelech means going. Standing and going. Standing firmly in a place, as in Psalm 119, which is recited 7 times in some Tashlich liturgies, Leolam Adonai Devarcha Nitzav Bashamayim. Adonai, your word, Nitzav, stands firm. And its partner, Parsha Vayelech, is about movement, the exact opposite of standing still, from the word halicha, to walk, like lech lecha, when Avraham is told, get going. In Nitzavim, we are literally about to enter the promised land, and Moses gathers us all together and has us all lined up at attention, like the first day of school, in front of him. We cannot march forward one step until we stop and stand still and listen and commit. Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem, Rosashana, Shivtechem, Ziknechem, V'shortechem, Kol Ish Yisrael. You stand this day before God, all of you, your tribal heads, your elders, your officials, every person of the people of Israel. Tapchem neshechem v'gercha asher b'kerev machanecha. Your children, your women, the strangers within your camp, from the water chopper to the water drawer, to enter into the covenant of God, which God is making you this day. Every one of you, Moses says, stop and stand still and be counted in this covenant today. Not just the men, but the women too. Not just the adults, but the children too. Not just the elite, but the plain folks too. Kulchem, all of you. The 16th century commentator Moshe Alshech points out that the only word the pasuk really needs is kulchem, all of you. It doesn't have to differentiate or enumerate all the different all of yous. But then the Torah goes on to specify, what does kulchem, all of you, really mean? Old, young, male, female, lest you think this covenant is not about you for some reason. The opening verses of the Torah portion embody the essence of forming a collective. All are summoned to be present and participate. Everyone is expected to show up. When? Hayom, today. Today, the last Shabbos of Elul, before the new month of Tishrei begins on Rosashana. This morning is supposed to be Shabbat Mavarchim, when we announce, bless the new month, adding a special prayer to the Torah service. It's the only month of the year when we specifically don't announce and bless the coming month. Why? Tradition teaches us that it is God, God's self, who blesses this month on the last Shabbos of the month of Elul. And with the strength of that divine blessing, we human beings can bless the next 11 months. When do we stand still and when do we take stock? Nitzavim hayom, today. The rabbis also say that that word hayom in the Parsha actually means Rosh Hashanah. In just a few days, when Rosh Hashanah begins, we will be asked to stand before God, our community, and our deepest selves. And how will we stand? And then we come to Vayelech. And it's amazing because it's not a Parsha break. It's not an Aliyah break. You just go right from Nitzavim into Vayelech, and it happened to be my Aliyah. So it was very exciting. I said, ooh, I'm going to talk about that. And I get to see it. Moses, in the last days of his life, he's saying his final farewell. Hayom, he also says today. And then he adds this amazing little caveat. Lo uchal od latzet vilavo. I am just too old to keep coming and going. And remember how many times poor Moshe has to go up and down and up that mountain. And he says to the people of Israel, coming and going and coming. I can no longer do it. On Rosh Hashanah, when we know where we stand, we can finally envision where we will go. We will not get stuck. We will push forward. The double portion read on this Shabbat before Rosh Hashanah, standing still to move forward, is the perfect paradox for this time of year. Rosh Hashanah is the quintessential Nitzavim Vayelech. After the end of last week's Parsha, with the dire warnings of the Tochacha, a sum total of 98 curses, Moses gathers the people to tell them, even with all these curses, even with all the dire consequences of not living a life in connection with God and Torah and Mitzvot, even with all that, you are standing here today. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, having heard the news, and you know what I want to sing? Like Elton John, I'm still standing, yeah, yeah, yeah. As Jews, sometimes in the morning when we wake up, we have to sing that song. We are still standing together, even with all that has befallen us, even with all that still may befall us, even with all the curses around us, we're still standing nitzavim, firmly planted. Rashi, the 11th century French commentator, asks why the Torah uses the word nitzavim for standing and not the more usual word omdim. He suggests that standing firmly seems to be an inappropriate word here. In entering the covenant with God, the people ought to have been standing submissively, not firmly. But he also notes that in order to really have a new life and enter the land, the people had to be ready to be firmly committed to what lies ahead. Not just walk toward it, but stand in it. Stand on it. Stand with it. Nitzavim, Rashi says, means standing ready for action. Nitzavim vayelech, standing ready to move. Omdim is standing passively. Nitzavim is what we're doing on Slichot, standing ready to move. On Rosashana, we are standing ready for action. We're like sprinters in position to run, but waiting for the exact right moment to get out of the ready position. I don't know if you do it here, and I'll find out tonight, but Slichot prayers are traditionally said while standing, like Ne'ilah, bookending each other, Slichot and Ne'ilah. As in Psalm 122, our feet are standing within your gates, Jerusalem. There is so much power in just standing still for a moment to take it all in. And then you prepare to run, to be ready for the whistle of the shofar that says, on your mark, Tikvah, get set, Shavarim Teruah, and go, Tikvah Gedolah. I often tell people who come to synagogue only on the high holidays as their main attendance at synagogue, don't worry so much about the words and the tunes and what you understand and what you don't understand, when to sit, when to stand, when to bow. It's okay to just be quiet and take it all in. Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem. Just stand there and be part of the kulchem, of the all of us. And then vayelech, the new year, will get you moving and going forward. Now, isn't it interesting that we celebrate the new year just at the same time that the secular world is in the going back to things stage? Going back to school, going back to work, going back to shul for the high holidays. But we Jews are supposed to start anew. We turn around to go forward. Vayelech. Tonight is the night we plan our move. We ruminate on the question, where am I going in my life? And how will I get there? How am I going to vayelech now that I've nitzavim? Now, Sforno, the 15th century Italian commentator, says on the word vayelech, hit orer lazeh. The person who vayelechs acts out of their own initiative. They are excited. They are motivated. Hit orer, to go. Like Avraham, who lech lechaz, who moves forward to a new life by getting up from a familiar place and moving on and out. As hard as that is, as challenging as we find it. There can be no nitzavim without vayelech. And that moving forward has to be of our own initiative. Yes, the rabbi can exhort you and inspire you with his amazing high holiday sermons, as I'm sure he does every year. But the vayelech instinct has to come from within you. Like Avraham, the call to go and move can come from the outside, but the actual intentionality and impetus has to come from inside. Nitzavim and vayelech, we are always standing steadfast, and we are always in constant evolution, constant change for the better. The Jewish people are in that liminal moment these next few days. We stand with one foot in 5784 and one foot in 5785, between looking back and looking ahead, between from where we came and to where we are going, between what was and what can yet be. Karl Barth, who's a Pulitzer Prize-winning American poet, once wrote these words, "Although no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending." What happens when we do find that place between Nitzavim and Vayelech, between waiting and planning, between jumping and doing? What is the spiritual power of that moment between, which we will experience so deeply tonight? Well, here's one answer, and I find it very, very moving. The Malbim, the 19th century Eastern European commentator, reminds us that we are about to enter a holy partnership. And these are the words he uses. Kishem, shenit asfu yachad lekayem aleihem, va'al zaram et kol divrei haTorah, kain Hashem yotzei likratam, v'zeh shamar lifnei Adonai Elohechem. He says, when we gather and stand firmly to take upon ourselves a richer Jewish life, God goes out to meet us. May we have that sacred meeting between us and God, in this Nitzavim Vayelech liminal moment, between now and the high holidays, between this year and next. And I look forward to exploring more ways we can do that with you tonight. Shabbat Shalom.